Jean Stapleton was born Jean Murray on January 19, 1923, in the heart of Manhattan, New York City. Her life began in a world surrounded by art, culture, and quiet ambition. Her mother, Marie Stapleton Murray, was a classically trained opera singer who filled their home with the sound of music and the discipline of performance. Her father, Joseph E. Murray, was an advertising salesman who had a knack for storytelling and communication. Together, they created an environment that valued creativity and expression, qualities that would shape Jean's soul and eventually make her one of the most beloved actresses of her generation. From her earliest years, Jean was fascinated by voices, gestures, and the rhythm of human conversation. It wasn't fame that drove her curiosity, but rather a deep love for understanding people. As a young girl, Jean attended Wadley High School for Girls in New York, and later Hunter College, where she studied music and drama. She wasn't a showy performer. Instead, she carried a natural modesty, a quiet strength that made her stand out for her sincerity. She began appearing in community plays and local theater productions, slowly learning the craft of stage acting. In those early years, she worked part-time as a secretary to make ends meet, never imagining that her name would one day be synonymous with one of the most iconic television characters in history. Yet even then, those around her noticed something special. She had a subtle way of drawing attention without demanding it, a rare blend of humility and magnetism. In the 1940s and 1950s, Jean Stapleton's career began to take root in the vibrant theater scene of New York. She performed in summer stock theaters and off-Broadway productions, where she honed her timing and emotional range. Each role she took, no matter how small, was treated with the same care and authenticity. She believed that every character deserved truth, even in comedy. This belief became the foundation of her acting philosophy. Jean's performances in stage productions such as Damn Yankees, Bells Are Ringing, and Funny Girl showcased her ability to merge humor with heart, and she quickly earned the respect of her peers. She wasn't the type to chase fame or headlines. Instead, she let her work speak for her, and her work spoke volumes. By the late 1960s, Jean had established herself as a dependable stage actress, admired for her depth and grace. But television was changing, and a new kind of show was about to transform American culture forever. When producer Norman Lear began developing All in the Family, he was looking for actors who could bring authenticity to complex, flawed, and deeply human characters. When Jean Stapleton auditioned for the role of Edith Bunker, Lear immediately saw something extraordinary. She wasn't playing for laughs. She was listening, reacting, and feeling. Her gentle voice, warm smile, and genuine compassion captured the heart of the show before it even aired. When All in the Family premiered in 1971, America was instantly divided and fascinated. The show tackled issues that most sitcoms never dared touch: racism, class, gender roles, and generational divides. At its center was the loud, opinionated Archie Bunker, played brilliantly by Carroll O'Connor, and his sweet, tender-hearted wife, Edith, portrayed by Jean Stapleton. The chemistry between them was undeniable. Edith's patience, kindness, and quiet wisdom balanced Archie's temper and stubbornness. What made their dynamic magical wasn't just humor, it was humanity. Jean turned Edith from a simple housewife role into a symbol of unconditional love. Audiences adored her. Edith Bunker became the heart of All in the Family, the emotional compass who reminded viewers that compassion could exist even in the face of ignorance or anger. Her laugh, her little mannerisms, her soft understanding, they all felt real because Jean brought pieces of herself into Edith. She treated the character not as a caricature, but as a person full of depth and dignity. Her performance earned her 3 Emmy Awards and 2 Golden Globes, but more importantly, she earned a place in the hearts of millions. For many viewers, Edith was their mother, their grandmother, or the neighbor who always had time to listen. Behind the scenes, Jean Stapleton and Carroll O'Connor developed a deep, mutual respect. Though their personalities differed, Carroll was outspoken and fiery, while Jean was introspective and private, they shared a common devotion to their craft. On set, Carroll admired Jean's patience and the way she could transform a line into something profound with just a look or a pause. Jean, in turn, respected Carroll's commitment to authenticity and the emotional layers he brought to Archie. They often discussed the emotional depth of their scenes, understanding that All in the Family wasn't just a comedy, it was social commentary wrapped in laughter. Yet despite their bond, Jean was not one to blur the line between her personal and professional life. She valued privacy deeply. When she left All in the Family in 1979, after nearly a decade on the show, it was not out of conflict, but conviction. She felt that Edith's journey had come full circle, that to continue would be to repeat, not to grow. Her departure was one of the most emotional moments in television history. When Edith's death was written into the spin-off Archie Bunker's place, fans were heartbroken. Even Carroll O'Connor, known for his stoicism, struggled with the loss. He later admitted that filming the episode about Edith's passing was one of the hardest things he had ever done. After leaving the show, Jean continued her work on stage and screen but avoided the spotlight whenever she could. She appeared in films like Clute, 1971, Something Wild, 1986, and You've Got Mail, 1998, proving her versatility. Yet fame never changed her. She often said that acting was not about recognition, but about connection, the quiet understanding between performer and audience. Off-screen, she preferred a life of simplicity, spending time with her husband, William H. Putch, the director of Totem Pole Playhouse in Pennsylvania. Together, they shared not only love, but a deep respect for the art of storytelling. By the time Carroll O'Connor passed away in June 2001, Jean Stapleton was 78 years old. The news hit her quietly but deeply. She had known Carroll not only as a co-star, but as a creative partner who shared something unique with her, the kind of bond that only comes from years of performing side by side in front of the world. His death marked the end of an era, not just for television, but for those who had lived through All in the Family's extraordinary impact. Fans expected Jean to attend his funeral, and many were surprised when she did not appear. But for those who truly understood her, it made perfect sense. Jean Stapleton was a woman of profound privacy and introspection. She had never been one to grieve publicly or make grand gestures. Her relationship with Carroll was built on respect, not publicity, and she felt that attending his funeral, with cameras flashing and the press lingering, would have gone against the quiet dignity she always valued. Instead, she chose to honor him in her own way, privately, away from the public eye. In a statement released later, she expressed deep sorrow and admiration for Carroll, calling him a brave, brilliant actor and a dear friend. For Jean, saying goodbye did not require a crowd or ceremony. Her remembrance lived in her heart, and in the lasting legacy they created together on screen. In the years following Carroll O'Connor's passing, Jean Stapleton continued to lead a life devoted to both her family and her art, quietly carrying the weight of grief that she never displayed publicly. Her decision not to attend the funeral was consistent with the principles that had guided her entire life: dignity, privacy, and a deep respect for emotion. Jean had always understood that true mourning is not about spectacle or external recognition. It is a personal and sacred journey. For her, grief was a private tribute, an intimate act of remembrance that needed no witnesses. She wrote letters, reflected in solitude, and spoke occasionally with close friends and family about Carroll, honoring his memory without seeking attention or public validation. This private way of mourning was emblematic of the woman behind the beloved character Edith Bunker. While television audiences saw her warmth, humor, and innocence, they rarely glimpsed the complexity of the person herself. Jean was introspective, fiercely intelligent, and deeply empathetic. Her sense of loyalty extended to the people she loved and the work she cared about. She had spent decades bringing life to characters that demanded authenticity, and she approached her personal relationships with the same sincerity. Just as she had given Edith a moral center, she gave her friendships and family her unwavering honesty, even if it sometimes meant withdrawing from public scrutiny. Jean's life after All in the Family was a testament to her dedication to acting and storytelling. She continued to appear on stage in regional theaters and Broadway productions, always seeking roles that challenged her and allowed her to explore the human experience. In 1981, she starred in a one-woman show about Eleanor Roosevelt, portraying the former First Lady with profound insight and sensitivity. The performance was not just an act of historical storytelling, it was also a reflection of Jean's enduring admiration for women of strength and moral courage. Critics praised her ability to capture the essence of Eleanor Roosevelt, just as audiences had admired her ability to capture the heart of Edith Bunker. In both cases, Jean's performances were rooted in respect, honesty, and emotional truth. On film and television, she continued to choose projects with care, selecting roles that aligned with her personal values and artistic standards. In Something Wild, 1986, she displayed a rare vulnerability and charm that reminded audiences why her talent had always been so profound. Even in smaller parts, Jean had a way of leaving a lasting impression, not through flashy performance, but through subtlety, nuance, and humanity. It was this same approach that made her absence from Carroll's funeral understandable. She did not seek to make headlines with her grief. She sought to honor her friend in a manner consistent with the life she had always led. Jean Stapleton's marriage to William H. Putch, which had endured since 1957, provided her with stability and companionship throughout her career and into her later years. Putch understood the pressures and demands of the theater world, and their relationship was built on mutual respect, shared passion for the arts, and profound affection. Together, they worked to sustain the Totem Pole Playhouse, a summer theater in Fayetteville, Pennsylvania, where Jean often participated in productions and supported the development of new talent. Their home life was private and nurturing, a safe haven where Jean could recharge her spirit away from the scrutiny of the public eye. In reflecting on Jean Stapleton's choice not to attend Carroll O'Connor's funeral, it is essential to recognize the depth of their connection. Their partnership on All in the Family had been transformative, not only for their careers but for American television. The series had tackled topics that were controversial, emotional, and sometimes divisive. Edith Bunker was the voice of empathy and reason in a world dominated by Archie's blunt honesty. The trust and understanding between Jean and Carroll were fundamental to the show's success. They had shared long hours on set, faced public scrutiny together, and navigated the challenges of fame while remaining devoted to their craft. Their bond was professional, personal, and profoundly human, yet Jean was never one to publicize her private feelings. She understood that true friendship does not require public displays or formal ceremonies. By choosing not to attend the funeral, she remained faithful to her personal code of integrity and privacy. This decision was a reflection of her character. A woman who had spent her life bringing honesty and humanity to the screen, and who now chose to honor her dear friend in silence. It was a quiet tribute, but no less powerful. It was Jean's way of ensuring that her grief remained authentic, personal, and respectful, free from the distractions of public spectacle. Even as she aged, Jean Stapleton's dedication to storytelling never waned. She continued to mentor younger actors, offering advice and support to those who were navigating the often unforgiving world of theater and television. She shared the lessons she had learned over decades of experience, the importance of listening, the value of empathy, and the power of subtlety. Her presence in the arts was gentle but significant. She never sought to dominate the conversation or the spotlight. Instead, she enriched every performance and every interaction with thoughtfulness, warmth, and precision. Fans and colleagues often spoke of Jean's kindness and humility. Unlike many actors who sought recognition, she embraced simplicity and authenticity. She did not chase awards or accolades, though she received them generously, and she never allowed fame to dictate her actions. This quiet confidence and sense of purpose extended to her handling of grief and loss. Her absence from Carroll O'Connor's funeral should not be seen as indifference. Rather, it was an expression of her own emotional truth. Jean understood that honoring someone's memory is a deeply personal act, one that can be performed in myriad ways beyond physical presence. In the years after Carroll's death, Jean remained active in supporting the theater community. often returning to Totem Pole Playhouse to help cultivate new productions and nurture young talent. Her legacy was not limited to Edith Bunker or the awards she had won. It was also evident in the lives she touched, the actors she inspired, and the audiences who had come to know her through her work. She continued to embody the very qualities that had made Edith Bunker so beloved: compassion, sincerity, and the quiet strength to navigate life with grace. Ultimately, Jean Stapleton's choice not to attend Carroll O'Connor's funeral can be understood as an extension of her lifelong principles. She had lived a life guided by integrity, emotional authenticity, and a deep respect for human relationships. She had always been someone who honored the people she cared for quietly, privately, and with unwavering sincerity. Her private mourning was a testament to her character, a reflection of the same dignity and humanity that had defined her career. By remembering Carroll in her own way, Jean ensured that her tribute was personal, heartfelt, and entirely true to who she was: a remarkable actress, a devoted friend, and a woman of quiet strength and profound empathy.